I remember when I was attending middle school, I would tell the kids about my favorite dish. They would laugh because it sounded like caca, but it's far from caca. It is a dish that is filling and feels so guilty because it is greasy and fattening. But who cares? If something is so good, you just have to try it and see what is all the rave about. Because now that is just a sin, not trying it at least once, but a shame. Well, we will go into more detail of this iconic plate that is from El Salvador and that many Salvadorians love and adore, and how the pupusa represents our culture. In El Salvador, the pupusa is now celebrated as a national holiday known as Pupusa Day. Today I will go over what is the pupusa, its history, and how it has arrived to the United States and represents the Salvadorian culture, my culture. The physical appearance of the pupusa and the ingredients to make this dish are that the physical appearance of the pupusa and the ingredients to make this dish to die for. A pupusa is about the size of a pancake, but with a texture of a tortilla, and it is made like a tortilla. Maseca is used, which is a corn flour to create the pupusa. The only difference between the pupusa and the tortilla is that they make an indent on the pupusa to put stuffing inside. The stuffing can either be cheese, beans, deep fried pork, or loroco, which is a plant that only grows in El Salvador and some regions of Guatemala. Then it is ready to be put in the comal, which is Spanish for griddle, and it is fried in oil. Once it receives brown spots and oozes the stuffing from the sides, then it's ready to eat. The toppings that go on top of the pusa that makes it just perfect are curtido and salsa. The curtido is made out of mixed cabbage that is boiled with carrots, onions, peppers, oregano, and white vinegar, according to the books The Salvadorian Americans by Carlos Cordova. The salsa is not even spicy, just a hint, but it helps cool down the hotness of pupusa and makes it juicy at the same time. The pupusas are a very fulfilling meal that goes nice with a thirst quenching drink on the side, a cola de champan, which is a Salvadorian soda. But how is it that the pupusas came to become a national treasure to all Salvadorians and Latinos? The pupusa is actually a native food from El Salvador that has been around since the indigenous people were in control of the Americas. The pupusas were born in the western part of the country by the indigenous group that live in the village of Ahuachapan, according to columnist Jose Segovia of the Los Angeles Examiner of July 30th, 2011, which the studies have been done at the National Museum of Anthropology by Dr. David J. Guzman. They also have been found in the Hoya Cine, which is a Mayan site according to Nicholas Gill in his article Pork Belly Pupusas. But after the Spanish conquest, many indigenous people died and lost their land to the Spanish Empire. Not until the 1950s, when people who lived in the villages that knew how to make pupusas, they would migrate to larger towns where they brought with them pupusas. And in the 1980s, when the country was in civil war between the Salvadorian military junta government and the leftist army FMLN, according to Cordova, many Salvadorians left the country due to the fact that they felt fear, persecution coming from either the government or the FMLN. The main country that many Salvadorians immigrated to was the United States. Through the history of the pupusa, it tells us a story of how its people have have had to migrate from rural areas to the cities and to the United States. A representation of the Salvadoran community among Latinos and its ever-increasing population in the United States. The pupusa is a huge representation of the Salvadoran culture. They remind us of the country and as a symbol to Salvadoran family. It reminds many Salvadorians who live in the United States of El Salvador, a family-owned Salvadoran restaurant in the North Bay, California, that is owned by Rosa and Antonio Cordova. We learn more about Rosa Cardona through the columnist Jessica Durr of the Metroactive. Making pupusas has helped Rosa to support her family and brought her to the United States, where she has worked hard to be able to open up a successful Salvadoran restaurant named Pupusas Salvadoreñas. She is asked if she misses home, and Rosa responds that she does miss her home, her country, but wants to return when she gets old and can no longer work. Just like many Latino families that get together to have dinner, the same as with my family. I'm actually Salvadorian from my father's side and half Mexican from my mother's side. We don't know how to make pupusas, but we go out to eat pupusas. It is something that we do as a family. When we spend time talking, it's always a joyful occasion because my father is always joking around. He always tells me in Spanish, "Gordito, ¿cuántas pupusas te vas a comer?" "Fatty, how many pupusas are you going to eat?" And I always tell him 3 because I gotta watch my figure. And we all just start joking around with each other. Pupusas transport many Salvadorians back to El Salvador and have become a sensation both in El Salvador and in the United States. To the Salvadorian and Salvadorian American, it gives us a way to be able to connect to our roots and a way to show how proud we are. In El Salvador, every second Sunday of November is International Day of Pupusas, as of Decree 655, according to Segovia. Pupusas are big due to the fact that there are more than 1.6 million Salvadorians in the U.S., and it's the 4th largest Latino community according to the U.S. 2010 census. Pupusas are everywhere in the U.S., and Nicholas Gill would say, Mexico has tacos, pupusas. El Salvador has pupusas. Pupusas are just more than a delicious meal. They are a representation of the Salvadoran culture and help explain the history of the country, plus the migration of its people to the United States. And I actually brought some pupusas to share with you today. Whenever you get to taste these delicious pupusas, just remember that these pupusas are made by the hands of someone who is working hard and is proud to be Salvadorian, and that they want you to be able to taste a little bit of their culture, a taste of the tiny little country El Salvador, otherwise known as El Pulgarcito de America. Thank you.